privileged to be the president of the R.E.A.C.H board. I've been on the board for 5 years. I've been president for 4. And during this time, we've always had a dream about building a new shelter. And now the time has come for us to start that pathway, and we're very excited about that. It's a $1.2+ million project, and we've applied to North Carolina Housing Authority to give us funds of about a little over $900,000, which means that we're in a capital campaign to raise over $300,000. The shelter we currently have, we've had for 24 years, because next year is our 25th anniversary. And what we're hoping is that our new shelter will be completed, and for our 25th anniversary, we'll be moving into the new shelter. That is our dream. We're going from a 6-bed shelter, which we're full almost 100% of the time. We have to turn people away. There's nothing more heart-wrenching than when somebody comes to us for help and we have to tell them there's no room at the inn. And so we're going to build a 10-bedroom shelter. And the unique thing about this is that it's going to have 2 bedrooms with a connecting bathroom. So if we have a really large family, we can use both sides. But if we don't need to, those doors will lock, so they'll still have their privacy. So we're making it so it'll be really usable for us to do for our community. R.E.A.C.H is dedicated to eradicating domestic violence and sexual assault in Macon County. We love our community. There's no better place to live than Franklin, North Carolina. The reality is, though, is that we do have domestic violence. We do have sexual assault. And those victims are the most vulnerable, the ones that we need to help and help walk a pathway with. One of the things I like to say about R.E.A.C.H is that we reach out our hand as far as we can, so those people who are suffering in domestic violence or sexual assault can reach their hand back and grab hold of ours, and we can pull them into a safe place. There is nothing greater than what we can do for those who are in those situations. R.E.A.C.H has always grown. We have been so blessed with staff who open their hearts, open their time. The time that they give is incredible. And I'm always of the mind, we need to pay them more. Because they do so much. They do so very much for the people. And the reason they do it is because they care. One of the things that I think about is, yes, we give them a paycheck, but their job is a paycheck for their heart. And that's who and what they are. And it's why we have such wonderful staff, why we have such great statistics of people who come to us and come back. I've often been asked, why does a woman go back after she has gotten out of a domestic violence situation? Why does she go back? And what I tell people is, it's not like they were mugged in the Walmart parking lot. They love that person, and that person loves them. Unfortunately, it's a situation where they have, to them, it's normal to be violent. And so trying to break that cycle of violence is a main part of what R.E.A.C.H does for those women and those children and those men who are in a domestic violence situation. Sexual assault is a horrible, horrible thing that happens, and it does happen in Franklin. And so here again, our staff reach out to those victims and say, we're here for you. We're going to walk with you every step of the way. To do that, we have to have a secure facility. We have to have the beds to give them what they need, to give them the meals they need, to help them with education, to help them with crisis, to help them understand how they can become a survivor, how they can come out on the other side a stronger, independent, well-rounded, and healthy person in our community. And we have success story after success story. So you can see our excitement about having a new shelter. What we're looking at doing is how we're going to look at part of our funding is we have a number of people. Cindy, who's our treasurer, Andrea, who's the executive director, write grants. So we're always looking for grants to write. We're always looking for donors. We're looking for people to name a room at the shelter, name the playroom, name the dining room, the kitchen. Whatever that is that strikes a chord in their heart, we want to say, we would like you to have your name on it. How we're looking at doing that is selling part of the land that we have. We have 7 acres that we're going to sell that currently has our shelter offices on them. We're going to sell that. It's on the frontage road of Old Murphy Road, and we're hoping somebody will say, what a great place to be. I want to buy that. Do you have a checkbook? We'll help you. We've got pens. We're all about that. So as you can see, we've looked at this and strived for this the entire time I've been on the board. And so now we're taking the steps of saying, it's time, we're going to build it. We're going to celebrate our 25th anniversary in a brand new shelter. We're going to be able to open our doors to more people who are suffering from domestic violence or sexual assault. We're going to be able to say, we are here for you in every way that there is. And we'll walk together. That's who and what we come to you as a community to tell our story, to reach out to more people in our community to grab hold. You know, the thing that you always look at is you see those wonderful commercials that have those cute little puppies or have those adorable little children, and it grabs your heart. In domestic violence, we can't do that. All we can do is say, you can make a difference to somebody who is battered, somebody who is in such a torment that their life is spiraling out of control. We can paint the picture for you, but we can't show you a picture. And that's why we have to talk about who and what we are, because we have to paint it. We can't show it. So what questions would you like to know about the shelter for many of us? We'll be happy to answer anything we can.
What's the time frame for this project?
We'd like to build it tomorrow. Like I say, we're hoping that we will break ground in the fall and that we will have it completed in 2015 is our goal. And Tom Ritter is our architect and Ronnie Deal is doing construction for us.
The Murphy Road property, was that not donated?
No, we bought that. And actually it's 2 parcels of land and we have a mortgage on both of those. And so one of the reasons we want to sell that is because we are living poor, so to speak. And having to support a mortgage makes it difficult to further the services that we want to do in the community. So we hope to sell that, be able to pay off those mortgages, and come out a little bit ahead and put that towards the new shelter. It would have been nice if it had been donated.
So where are the administrative offices going to be if you sell the administrative office?
We have this really cute camper trailer. We're going to build new offices as part of the project. It will actually not be connected to the shelter, but it will be on the land with the shelter. And the reason I don't tell you where that is because we keep our shelter as much as we can confidential, because we don't want there to be incidences of a perpetrator deciding they would like to come there. Any other questions?
If I could add one, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just wondering, I sent an email to her, I believe, and I was asking, considering the incident that happened in Jackson County, where the husband found his wife, I was wondering what steps you all are taking in this new shelter.
We have even at the current shelter, we have a very extensive alarm system. And obviously we are very well connected with both the police department and the sheriff's department. And so one of the things we do when somebody comes into the shelter is our staff talks about them, about the precautions of making sure the outside doors are locked, you don't prop the door open, what they do when they leave the shelter to get in the car, those kinds of things, making sure they're not followed. We're hoping the shelter will be closer to town. The reason that's important is because right now our current shelter is quite a distance away from town, which makes it difficult for our staff and for the people who are in our shelter to utilize the resources that are available to them. Obviously, transportation is a big issue. Training, going to school, those kinds of things, going to the market are all challenging parts, and so it would be much better if we can move closer into town to make that easier for the people who reside at the shelter. But obviously being secure is very important to us. That was a horrible tragedy. that that happened. And so we're working very diligently to make sure that we do. You can donate online. It'll give you all the information. We're getting ready to, I'll let Cindy. Cindy has been instrumental in heading our campaign and some of the things that we're doing as far as getting that word out and soliciting people to be able to give. Cindy, you want to?
Sure. What I wanted to point out first, though, is to get to this point, we needed money, and we'd be remiss without acknowledging and thanking the people in Franklin, the people across Macon County, both Franklin and Highlands, the Zonta Club, and all the other organizations that helped us get the seed money to get the architecture efforts, to get the consultants, and everybody we needed to get to this point. And without that seed money from those organizations, we wouldn't have been able to get here. Well, now we're here and it's really exciting, and our consultant has prepared the loans and information that we'll be needing. We're working with foundations, but the way this is structured is the federal and state governments will give you this, you don't have to pay back kind of loan for 75% of the money, as Bonnie mentioned, but there has to be community commitment for the other 25%. So that's where our efforts are underway right now. So over the coming year, we'll be doing that. We have a target at the end of May where we submit to the government, as part of our application, how many pledges, how many dollars we have raised. To the extent we're closer to being shovel-ready than other projects, increases the likelihood of our approval. Although I'll have to say, most of the people working in North Carolina are really supportive and really, really want this shelter to go in. So we have been pushed and encouraged throughout to do that. But our work is not over, and so we do have some more money we have to get. But based on how wonderful the community has been with our fundraising efforts up to this point to get us to this point, we're optimistic that we'll be able to cross that bridge and have that new shelter in time. So, I did want to thank everybody that has been involved in doing, helping us with our garden tour, all of those Zonta events, the Christmas events in Highlands for the last several years, where we've been able to get that seed money to get this going.
Any other questions? Yes, Gordon.
Given the Highlands areas in Macon County, what are some of your plans to integrate with the Highlands area, since they so much are involved? And I think one of the things to be commended about R.E.A.C.H leadership is that you really have integrated well with the Highlands area on the board, and so many.
We are ironically about 15% of the people who come to us are from Highlands. And so we have reached out to them. Cindy actually resides in Highlands, and she is the secretary of the board. And so we have worked very diligently at letting them be a part of everything that we're doing and educating them, because they didn't realize that 15% of their people were coming to the shelter. It just wasn't something that they thought about. And so educating them has been a big part of what we've done. And Cindy has been instrumental in connecting to the Highlands people there.
Well, and the other statistic in that regard is, and a lot of the information with the clients has to be kept confidential, but in looking at it, the assessment is about 25% of the people that work, or of the people that go to the client, that utilize the services work in Highlands. So it impacts it in numerous ways, the whole county. And so that's why it's a county-wide effort. All of Macon County is working on this together. So we'll have activities and fundraising opportunities at both cities.
Any other questions? Andrea, would you like to say anything?
I would just like to echo what both Cindy and Bonnie said about community support. I mean, certainly with our operation, we would not have been able to be here for 24 years and looking at 25 without the community support. And that comes in lots of ways. It comes through financial contributions, donations of needed items. I mean, when people come to our shelter, oftentimes they come with absolutely nothing except for what they had on when they leave. And so the community has always come together to give us the items that we need for families and for children in the shelter, and then also volunteer time. So certainly if anyone has a group that they would like for us to come speak to tell them more about what R.E.A.C.H does, about the shelter plans, to bring our plans, just contact the office and we'd be happy to come and speak to any group, no matter how large or small.
Anything else you'd like to ask? I want to thank our board members. We are blessed to have a great board, and we have grown immensely over the years with the leadership and the skills of our board. And without them, we wouldn't have gotten to this point. And so Bob is on the board, Danny and Gordon and Sue Ann and Peggy are all on our board. And so when you look at the people and the commitment of those and the time that they give, it tells you a little bit more about why I think we're going to be successful. Because we have people who care, who are dedicated to seeing this happen, and who are going to work in every way that we can that this shelter is built. Anything else? Thank you all very much for taking time out of, I'm sure, a very busy day. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call the REACH offices. They'll be happy to answer anything you need. We have a jump drive for you that has all of the information and copies of the plans. We'd be happy to have you take that if you would like. But thank you very much, again, for coming and being a part of this, our first stepping stone in the building of our new shelter. Thank you.